Finally, the Su-57 cockpit, T50, Su-57, whatever. So there it is, man. The cockpit looks like it's got a mix of some switches and a lot of screens. I don't know if they're touch screen, but it looks.
Oh, they have to be. Yeah, the center screen's got to be all touch screen.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a heads-up display in there, a large HUD.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it looks like a modern cockpit, man. I don't know what the screens can do, as far as functionality goes, but I mean, it looks like rather modern cockpit. But how they have the displays sorted, how you can manage them. Are they easy to manage with HOTAS or voice or thought or whatever? I don't know, but
Firefox.
Yeah, exactly, man. Come on.
They got the seat cover on because it's
Seat
like your grandma's
on.
couch. You don't want anybody to.
That's right, man. No boot marks on it. Looks good. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, that's a lot of display real estate, which is good. It's interesting that they are still using the center stick. To me, especially if you see the short pedestal that it's on. So, you've got the ejection seat handle that is basically butted up to your aft. Like if you went aft stick, you'd be in your own ejection seat handle.
Well, it depends, man. I mean, obviously it's fly by wire, and like the F-16, how far back did you move the stick?
But that was a side stick. This is a full. This is probably a full control like the Hornet.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt it's pressure sensitive like a Viper because you'd want it side stick if you had that. Like the Raptor's the same way. It moves a little bit. Like it moves more than the F-16, but it doesn't move like a Hornet. This is more like the Hornet, where it's going to give you full control, which I agree with you. There are some good arguments that that's a better, and it's easier to transition from an aircraft that has it to, like if you got a pilot coming from the Su-30 or Su-35 or even Su-27, hopping into this jet where it's the same feel is going to be a pretty one-for-one swap versus it does take some getting used to do side stick, although it's not a big deal. You get used to it after one flight. But I'm just saying the way that seat handle is, it seems like you're kind of like a lot of stuff is happening in a very critical space.
Yeah, generally speaking, I haven't sat in this thing, but generally speaking, I would say Western, the man to machine interface on Western designed airplanes has been a little better, but I don't know, man. That you're right. That stick is up on
it's like a pedestal.
Yeah, it doesn't go all the way to the floor, does it?
Right. No, it's like a very short throw.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
For the Russian trolls, none of this is hating on. I'm just pointing out observations.
Yeah. It's just different from what we're used to.
Right. But also keep clicking because it helps Gonky with his RV fund.
I will say this, so the thing I didn't like about having the center stick in the Hornet was I had to, if I was flying BFM, I had to run the seat all the way down. So I didn't hit my leg when the G suit would inflate. But when I was doing CAS or coming aboard the ship, I like to run the seat as high as I could without my head hitting the top. And that's because the control stick was long enough, when you were and the throws were big enough to where like sometimes your leg would get in the way. The T-45 actually, the stick was broken in the middle. So it would move on the floor and at the midway point to help you clear your legs. This thing here, I could see being up on a pedestal, kind of, your legs.
Maybe sits high. Yeah.
Yeah. Your legs probably not going to get in the way. So, I mean, I'd venture to say, man, I mean, the cockpit looks pretty modern. I bet it's comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, if it works, no big deal. It looks like, it looks wide too. So it looks like you're like straddled. This reminds me of the way the F-16 cockpit is, because you got that, especially with the new center displays, where you're straddled the center part and then it's like right up to you. The Hornet, when I flew that, it was farther back, so you felt like you had a little bit more room. But here with the stick and that center pedestal being right there, next to your feet and being a little wide like it looks like, you don't have a whole lot of real estate to move around. And then the rest of the stuff looks like a standard, 5th gen fighter. I wonder if the bottom right is like an EFB, because that's what it kind of looks like, that bottom right display.
Yeah.
Like your electronic flight bag, just something, miscellaneous stuff, weapons, stores, approach plates, whatever it is they're doing. And like you pointed out, I do like that they actually have a HUD, because as we've seen with the F-35, that's not always the best option, is to not have a HUD.
Right.
Because who knows? If the thing fails, what do you have? But I mean, it looks like a decent cockpit. It does look like they sit pretty high too.
Yeah.
I was talking about the visibility previously, and people were like, why are you talking about visibility? Because it matters. But it does look like he sits high enough that maybe his rearward visibility isn't all that affected, but I would rather not have a canopy bow personally. If I could design the perfect fighter, it'd be like the F-16, where it's a single piece canopy. But
are those little windows in the back, or is that gray paint?
Gray paint.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a good looking jet. I think the cockpit looks, I think it looks nice. What do you think of the blue, man?
That's just standard Russian, man. That's they've always done that. I've heard various rumors of why they do it, but
why? I'm just curious. What rumors?
Like, I've heard everything from it's easier for your eyes to adjust looking outside, like outside, inside, because of that blue, to it's calming. Like, it actually has like a calming effect because of the color. Like, I've heard multiple iterations, and then I've heard it's just cheaper. The whole frame looks like that, and they just don't paint it, and that's just the way they've always done it.
They've got a discount in Russia on blue paint, dude.
Well, that's that if it works, but I don't know the real reason for that. But I mean, it's a good looking airplane. It's a good looking cockpit. Now realize this is from the air show in China, right?
So it's probably the export. It's the export version, right?
It's the T50.
Okay.
So this is the production version prototype that they may have sorted a lot of stuff out, which is probably likely, because I doubt Russia wants you taking pictures inside one of their production combat coded Su-57s.
Yeah.
So this is probably the T50 that doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the combat version does.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's awesome. Hopefully we'll get, it'd be cool to see the screens powered up, but I know that's, it's bridged.
Maybe in DCS, Gonky. Maybe DCS one day.
Yeah. This looks just like a Hornet. Shocking.
Yeah. Right. Well, no, but yeah, looks cool.